Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Today's piece of content hopefully will be perfectly timed with this time of year. There's generally lots of sales out there and I get asked this question quite a lot. Now if you're new to the channel, I am a massive bag nerd, bag geek. I just love bags of all shapes and sizes. So it's quite a common thing that I'm asked which is the right bag for me, which is never an easy thing to answer. So what we'll have a look at today are my 5 tips on getting the right bag for you. Now, as I usually do, I'll turn the camera around. Really, I'll just kind of move it just a little bit. But whilst I'm doing that, if you do enjoy this content at any point, please feel free to hit the like and subscribe. That would be amazing. And if you do choose to do that, I'd certainly like to thank you at this point. It definitely means a lot to me. But for now, I'll turn the camera ever so slightly so that we can look at what is the right bag for me, or at least my 5 tips. That didn't sound like a catchy title. I might need to work on that one, but yeah, let's move the camera ever so slightly. Now before we start, I guess, you know, some of the packs that you'll see just running in the background whilst I'm talking these different things, they are all backpacks, but generally these 5 tips or things to think about can be used to any sort of bag, whether it's a satchel, whether it's a backpack, whether it's a crossbody bag, whether it's a sling. I think fundamentally these 5 things to think about can be scaled down or can be moved across each of the different subgenres of bags, but I suppose today mainly I'm looking at backpacks, but these are all things that you can consider whilst looking at other different styles of bags as well. Now, these aren't in any particular order apart from this first one, and that is budget. Now, budget is unfortunately the one thing that drives everything, isn't it? You know, in this day and age that we live in, you know, people are finding it difficult to pay bills. So I'd never say get the best bag ever, mainly because you need to think about what impact that's going to have on the rest of your life. And I mean, whether you're maybe not whether you're a millionaire, but whether you earn good money or whether you earn little money, budget's always going to be a thing. Personally, I hate talking about money, mainly because I don't know, it just gets me anxious, but it's something that you really need to think about, and spending your money wisely. So buy from companies, or at least buy from sites that have a return policy, just in case you don't particularly like the bag that you've got. Spending your money wisely on sites that are probably a little bit more reputable than others. If you're on Wish and you see something that it says this is what the Navy SEALs use, and it's only $14.99, then is that really spending your money wisely? Although saying that, there are some reputable companies like on AliExpress, companies like One Tigress, who make really good quality stuff, but it's actually, you know, it's more affordable. So do a little bit of research into that. Also, I'd always recommend going for good, reputable, named companies, mainly because they've got a history behind them. They've put in years and years of, you know, research and development into different style packs. Again, it just comes down to spending your money wisely. But generally, you'll find if you go to, I don't know, an Able Carry, or you go to a Hazard 4, you're probably going to get genuine parts, you're going to get the best materials. It's going to be a pack that will last you a little bit longer. Now, of recent years, you hear a lot of people talking about these kind of, not grail packs, we'll talk about that later, but heirloom packs or heirloom bags, mainly those items that you can pass down to your grandkids or your children. And generally, if you're thinking and you're spending your money wisely on an heirloom pack, then it will last you a little bit longer. But generally, you know, you tend to find that they are a little bit more expensive. There should be no snobbery in backpacks or anything like that. You know, I still rock some £30 backpacks when I'm not rocking £200 backpacks, but again, there should be no snobbery in that. at all. And the first one, and which is one I feel is possibly the most important, and that is budget. Tip number 2 is think about how it will be used. So I guess these kind of fall into 2, maybe 3 categories, or this is generally what I tend to put them into. You've got your everyday bag that you'll be taking to your office, if it is that you work in an office, or you've got an everyday bag that you'll be taking to work, and then you've got an everyday bag which is for other events, whether it's going for a walk in the woods like this, whether it's going and seeing buddies after work, it could be a range bag, it could be lots of different things. So how is it going to be used? If it is you're going to be taking it into the office, is a laptop section important to you? Is it important that it has lots of different little pockets in there so that you can put in your different things that you use from work, and you can compartmentalize all of those different things? If it is that it's an outdoor bag, are those things important? Do you really need to have a laptop section in there, or is it more important that it has PALS webbing on the front so that you can attach molly things to it? Is it more important that it needs to be more durable, so we're looking at the different fabrics, that sort of thing? I think that is possibly the key thing with this. Some of you, again, thinking about budget, maybe after that unicorn pack that is the crossover pack. Now, the crossover pack is something that will kind of encompasses both of those. You want to put your laptop in it during the day, you can do. You can go into work, you can do whatever you need to. You get home, you want to go out the weekend, whip your laptop out, put some sandwiches and a flask of tea in there, and you can get out into the wilds. When you get home, you can take that out, you can put your gym kit in it, you can go to the gym. You get the idea. What you'll tend to find with one of these unicorn crossover bags is it's very good at all of those little bits together, but not necessarily very good or the best at a certain point. And that's the kind of the mashup that you get with a crossover bag. But yes, so my tip number 2 would be, how is it going to be used? Tip number 3 is capacity. How much do you need to fit in this bag? For EDC, generally, EDC capacity tends to go between 20 litres all the way up to about 30 litres. Now, that's not to say that there aren't any sub 20 litre backpacks that are just terrible for EDC. And in fact, the last 12 months, it's kind of opened my eyes just a little bit more towards sub 20 litre backpacks. If you're after something that's just for essentials, which kind of goes off the last point of what it's been used for, a sub 20 litre backpack is perfect for that sort of stuff. You put in all the bits that you need, you can even fit in maybe a 16-inch laptop, you can go to work, you can do what you need to do. When you're looking then towards the middle of the range, 25 litres really is kind of a golden spot for EDC. You could probably fit it with your work stuff, you can fit in some gym equipment if you're going out that night. You could also use it for weekend bag as well. Maybe if you're going to see some friends, you can put enough clothes in there. Or maybe if you're going out into the countryside, 25 litres, you'll tend to find a lot of those day packs that you see on certain sites. 24, 25, 26 really is that kind of that sweet spot. When you're getting up to 30, now 30 clearly you can fit more in there, and if you wanted to go past 30, there's some absolutely amazing 35 litre EDC style packs out there, but what you'll tend to find is that you need to work about the kind of the management of the stuff that's in there, because it'll be slopping around, especially if you're not filling the bag. Look at packs that have compression straps, look at packs that have side compression zips, that sort of thing. If it is that you're going to be wanting to do trips where maybe you're doing some traveling, you're staying away for a few days, you'll tend to find that a lot of those travel packs get up towards the 28, 29, 30 litres. So when you're thinking about the backpack, you should always make sure for tip 3 is that you're thinking about its capacity. Tip number 4 is thinking about the material materials in which the pack or the backpack is made from. Now, for me, over the last 2 years, the main runners for materials are either Cordura or X-Pack. Now, Cordura is your kind of military material. You'll see it in a lot of military bags. If you're buying a decent one, then generally the vast majority of them are made from Cordura, but you'll also see it referred to as like a ballistics nylon. Your Corduras come in different weights, similar to X-Pack materials. A lot of different things, generally they'll come in different weights, which is denier, and really that is the strength of that material. A lot of those military style backpacks, which I generally tend to gravitate towards, will tend to be the 1000D. Now, you'll look at those bags and you'll think, Randy, it's got all the Ds, that's the bag for me. Look at all the Ds, but that just means that yes, it's tough, but it's also going to be heavier than a 500D Cordura. Now, a 500D Cordura is roughly half the values of a 1000D, but it's still very tough. A 500D bag can take a lot of kicking. But then you've got some companies like Tasmanian Tiger who skirt around the 700D, which has qualities of both the 500 and the 1000. So, certain things to think about. Also, I mentioned the X-Pack material. X-Pack is a sailcloth, which is ridiculously tough, and the way that their strength kind of denier system works is if you see an X40 material, then that is a 400 denier. So what you do is whatever the number is at the end, add a 0 to it, and that will tell you what denier it is. It's very rare. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen anything over something like an X50, mainly because after that the material is that tough and that rigid that it just wouldn't make a nice pack. Your sailcloth that you will see on the ships during the Olympics, they're really up at that end, and if you've ever been windsurfing or you've ever been sailing and you've felt how tough that material is, that's the reason that you don't tend to get anything over like a maybe a 50 or a 60. They're my two top picks, but then they're not the only ones out there. There are a lot of polyester, there are a lot of nylon, different blends that are still very useful or particularly strong. If you're eco-minded, then there's some great companies out there making some really good materials. Cordura do their own eco-friendly, made from recycled bottles, that sort of stuff. Another great company is look to companies like Trek, look to companies like, oh come on, what is the name? I had this on my mind. Osprey makes some incredibly good bags, and two, they are making some really good decisions on the materials that they make. Yes, they're not the 500D Corduras, but with the ripstop materials and the blends that they're using, they're still incredibly strong packs as well. So my tip number 4 would be materials. Now, my last tip, or my last thing to think about, is the grail bag. The holy grail of bags. This could be something that you've seen that you think, that is the bag that I need in my life. But just always think about it. Is it too expensive? Do I genuinely need a bag that's 28 litres? No. 20 litres is fine for me. The grail bag is a bag that is always good to have at arm's length, and I think it's good for most people to have that. It's that bag that you look at, it's that bag that you lust after, that hopefully one day it would be great to own. However, if you don't own it now, it's not the end of the world. It's just something to look towards for me. So when I started getting into making YouTube content, and I was thinking, well, I need the bag. What's the bag that I can show off that will get me kind of billions of views and I'll be dead famous, even more famous than I am now? Sorry. And it was, my grail bag has been exactly the same bag ever since, and it is the Triple Aught Design Fast Pack EDC. 28 litres of pure bag sexiness. I don't know what it is about it. It's just a very cool looking bag. I've probably got other bags that do exactly the same, maybe even slightly better, but that's the bag that I lust after. And it's good to have that, but don't let it get you down if you can't have that straight away. I think that's probably a tip for life, isn't it, really? But yes, see it as something to work towards, that you're not busting your balls to get to, that you can happily spend 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 years working towards that, so that one day you'll get that grail bag and everything will be great. But what actually happen is you'll get the grail bag and you'll go, oh, I've got a new grail bag. So yes. So there's my 5 tips when I'm ever asked, but Moorlander, which is the best bag for me? They're always the things that I think about, and I hope these have helped. As I mentioned, you know, this can go towards any sort of bag. Really, I suppose it could go to a knife, kind of. I guess they should be able to go towards quite a few things. But yes, so what did we have? And I've got to see if I remember these in order now. We had the price, we had how's it going to be used, we had materials, we had capacity, and then we had the grail bag. They're my 5 tips. So yeah, I hope this helps if you're thinking of looking towards some bags. Now I've been rolling B-roll all the way through this, and you've seen me walking around with different bags. Some of those I have made some content, so I'll leave links, or you know, I'll make sure there's the little cards on each of those. But yes, I hope you all had a great Christmas. I hope you all have an amazing new year. Here's 2023. Hopefully it will be bigger and better things here for Moorlander EDC. But for now, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC. Oh, and I did fall over that. So that's going in the bloopers, isn't it? Oh, and I should probably apologise in advance. I think there was a lot of swearing in this, so if you're watching the bloopers, then yeah, apologies for the swearing. The next one probably, oh no, toots. No one in the woods today. I do think it's going to rain soon. We have a crosswind. Yeah. Anyway, we're outside. When you film outside, you take it for granted that it's probably going to rain at some point. Anyway, where were we? Tip number 3, or thing to think about for the third. No shit. A lot of swearing today. Didn't realise this content was going to turn so blue so quickly. Materials, then it's capacity. I probably got those all the wrong way around. No, it wasn't. Yeah, shitter, bollocks, fucking tit bollock, fuck. Excuse my French. Now the next one I'd say is, what is your pack going to be used for? No. I know what it's going to be. Counting chickens. Shoot. Hi, I'm the Moorlander, and this is Moorlander EDC. I forgot what I was going to say. Let's get closer.